Hi, and welcome to Sky Notes. This week, Lillian and I break down the astrology of the week of July 5th to the 11th. The shifts and changes continue as Neptune changes directions, Venus changes signs, and we all get a chance to ground ourselves. So join us while we check our Sky Notes. Hello, welcome to Sky Notes. Hi, Lillian.
Hey, Tracy, how's it going?
Good. I'm excited to be talking about the week of July 5th to July 11th. And the astrology
I want
of
to
it,
know
right?
what
Yeah.
happened.
So I'm going to just kick us off by saying we pre-record these. So, this is starting off for the week of July 5th, and we don't know what happened July 4th.
But we saw something and we made a note of it.
Yes. So I'm just going to jump right into this thing that we were just talking about, the Mars trine Pluto aspect. So in the last episode, we talked about everything that was happening on July 4th and the potentials of some things that, might get stirred up. But the other thing that we have mentioned is that the moon has to, if there's going to be something big event, something happening in mundane astrology, the moon actually has to come and kick that off. I mean, even in transits for herself, unless the moon comes in and actually activates something, it generally isn't going to turn into an event or a big event. And so on the 5th, it would have started, we'd start feeling this around the 3rd and the 4th of July. Mars is trine Pluto. So that, to me, a trine is easy. So it's considered a positive aspect, but an easy aspect between Mars and Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius, there's potential for conflict to easily erupt, for violence to easily erupt, right? Is there because it's an easy aspect. So that's what we mean by easy in this particular case. Luckily, the moon does not trigger this meeting of the two.
Right.
Yes. So we're going to feel it. We're going to feel Mars working, probably amping up the Pluto stuff, right? The collective disharmony, the collective need for change. But it's not necessarily going to be an event. What do you think? What do you think about that pair up?
Saying, and then to just touch back into the 4th, there's this saying in the States from folks who are not into Trump, Trump always chickens out. And it's this repeated thing of him having to back down because he's so egregious in his habitual overstepping, I guess is what I would say. And so I wonder if he planned something big for the 4th for himself and it blew up. And then it created more discontent because of the void, of course, because of the moon not triggering stuff, and because of the amount of ego energy that's present and the desire to be recognized and nostalgia combined, really is a recipe for stuff blowing up. And so I'm curious to see if that happened, but I don't know that it happened.
Well, and so with Mars and with the air energy, that's usually mental, verbal, right? So you're right. I mean, it's a recipe for all talk, big talk, violent talk, angry talk, threats, right? That don't ever turn into anything because there's nothing there to trigger them. So absolutely, I imagine a ton of bluster that adds up to nothing other than just more aggravation of how stupid it all is.
And churning, because I see the opportunity with that trine of the Mars and Pluto to be the metabolizing of that. But folks who aren't interested in metabolizing, maybe they hate emotions, it just is going to still be moving underneath this discontent.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And there's definitely, I mean, we are building to the full moon at the end of the month and the opposition between Jupiter and Pluto. And so there we are going to get little snippets of what that's about leading up to it. And this is, to me, Mars coming in and having this very, easy conversation with Pluto. There's something in that that will be unveiled when there's the opposition between Pluto.
Later in the month. Yeah. So there was all of this like weird cadence in the month, and one thing, one shoe dropping, and then you wait a bit for another shoe to drop. It's so interesting because the guidance we keep giving, ground yourself so that you can have that patience what I've noticed with the shift to air and fire is tremendous impatience. And I have to keep stopping myself to say, hey, you don't get to rush off at the end. You're going to have to like be as thorough for the entire process as you are at the beginning.
Because we've got so much fire, so much air, very mutable, movable energy. So when I'm talking about, and I'm sure when you're talking about the importance of being grounded, I really do think of it like when you look at a tree, and if it's not well rooted, right? If there's anything going on, it'll just blow away if it's not, you know? And so that being able to have roots planted deep enough, right? That you
Yes,
can not get blown off course, but remaining
that's
flexible
beautiful.
enough that you're not going to get snapped in half either is kind of the way to navigate what's going on astrologically, hey?
I'll add to that. You know, we grew fruit trees from saplings, and the instructions were to take off the fruit the first couple of years, and we were like, "Wow, that seems really weird." Until we let the fruit stay, and the tree bends, and it cannot support that fruit. So it's saying, "Be kind and let the tree grow strong enough to support the fruit that you're trying to get to." And don't rush the process. So I love what you're saying. In addition to the roots, you can't grow any fruit until the tree's strong enough to hold
That's
them.
right. That's right. Exactly. And on that note, we have a very tree shaking aspect on Monday, July 6th. I was trying to think of what I looked at in the astrology that made me think of the tree and what was going to shake us loose. So there you go.
Yeah.
We have the sun is square. So we've got the sun in Cancer square Saturn and Aries on the Monday. Um,
Yeah. Talk about
yeah,
impatient.
impatient. And that's such a frustrating combination. You know, I find when we have squares, especially the sun, or any of the closer planets, that's just frustrating automatically, right? And then you put Saturn in
Yeah.
Aries, which is I find generally frustrating for people,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
um, that yeah, there's something in, and I feel like that sort of whatever happens over the 4th of July weekend, that's the fuck around and
It may
find out
land.
moment, right? Sun square Saturn.
Yeah, but the opportunity with that is so freaking good, right? Like we talk all the time about how Aries needs a challenge, right? And Aries needs something to be courageous about. And so I could see it being revisiting something that you're emotionally attached to, and maybe, you know, digging out some of the rotten spots, healing up some stuff. It's a way to kind of use it to process in a brave and courageous
Right.
way, or to come back to your family in a brave and courageous
Mm.
way, you know, to come back with love and, you know, recommit to providing or something like that, or taking a kid out on a hike. There's a lot of ways you can metabolize that energy that's positive and cheery and beautiful, but you're to your point, you have to be able to process the irritations that come along with it.
Right.
And if you can't, maybe be on your own for a bit.
Well, again, no trigger. No trigger.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it perfects at 4:46 a.m. here, and the moon doesn't ingress until 9 a.m. So no, again, no trigger. So it big talk, nothing happens. Big talk about consequences, nothing happens. That's literally how that looks.
To the processing point, here you have your old shit coming up and creating an obstacle. I'll give you one of mine. Every time I try to clean a room, I block the door with all the stuff that I want to take out of the room, which is fine. But I've been doing it in my studio for 5 years, so it's far too effective there. So this time I've given myself an end of the month deadline to take everything out. And then that's just an example of um, you are going to get to try something. You don't have the expectation of it working out, but you're giving yourself the opportunity to try it to build the muscle. And it doesn't matter if it works out. So you're lessening the vibe of failure. And so to me, it is choice for processing things, difficult projects that you feel really emotionally committed to. If you add bravery and then you add that level of care, and then you don't get attached to the outcome. So to me, it is a good one, but it's going to take a lot of tenacity and persistence.
Well, and I feel like as we're talking about these outer planets being where they are and where the other stuff is shifting into, and us being quite maybe energetically agitated from being overstimulated, um, that all of these aspects that come in and create frustration, create sort of a shakeup, never actually turning into anything, is going to be aggravating. Like, it's going to feel like we're very, like, if you're not centered and you're not grounded and you're not removing yourself from stuff that's none of your business, you're going to feel dragged around all over the place and with nothing happening. It's so a huge waste of energy, right? So I can see people, if they let themselves be pulled around, being quite fatigued. Yeah.
I love what you're saying. So true. It's so true. So you could be dragged around. It can be really exhausting. You cannot process other people's energy for them. So any like helper instincts, really, you have to be aware you're doing it for yourself somehow, right? And then I love what you're saying. It may feel personal. It may feel intentional. It may feel shocking because it's something you've done a million times. It doesn't work this time. And so I love what you're saying, because it's not going to be easy to let go of that frustration, but it's an opportunity to.
Right. Right. Yeah. And, this whole idea of grounding in nature or whatever, in moments of frustration, often it just means sit down, make sure both of your sit bones are connected to whatever you're sitting on, and put your feet flat on the floor and take a deep breath.
That's it.
And then you're centered, right?
That's it.
Because it just, like, as soon as I sort of felt into the energy of all of those unresolved aspects, I was like, oh yeah, that feels like Raggedy Ann getting pulled through into the tornado kind of feeling, right? So so let's not succumb to that.
Or if you succumb, come back.
Yes. Identify it and just come back to the center. 100%. Yeah, I love that for sure. And we're also navigating, and we have been, like, since before the first of the month, Neptune is stationing retrograde, which just means Neptune is very close to us. So the room for delusion, illusion, the desire to escape is that much closer to us, right? So it's just something to be aware of. And for people who are affected by what Neptune can do in terms of, say, depression or anything around that.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. So avoid anything that takes you out of reality, like we're just way more susceptible with Neptune retrograde and close.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say be aware. How do I say this? I want to talk about magic, right? Sure. And that magic is sometimes just organization. And that if you know how magic works, it doesn't make it less magic. Like, one of my favorite magic tricks is studying with a magic pen, because I write everything down. And because I think it's magic, I'll write more stuff down, and then I study. It's okay to see beautiful things. That's what the Neptune is trying to do. It's trying to, create clouds to show you, like, the most magnificent patterns, or make you aware of the blueprints of the world and opportunities. But it does come with all the crazy nutters who don't make any sense and are cuckoo and aren't ever going to work in this reality. And so once again, your discrimination becomes critically important. So I wouldn't urge people to avoid that. I would say, if you are inclined to escape, come back. I would say, if you see a beautiful thing, just like when you see a horrible thing, you write it down. I would say that most difficult thing about depression is that it is a mental illness that recurs no matter how good your life is. So if you are having a beautiful life and you are devastated by the recurrence of depression, it is more about the transit than it is about you at this moment. And that can sometimes be a life-saving awareness. And that Neptune will erode eventually, revealing what is there. And so it's another weird cadence of like we're being shown something, but we're not being shown it all at once.
Yeah.
So if you sense an erosion internally, allow that to happen, because what comes next is your solidity, who you really are.
Right. Beautiful. Yes, I love that. And Neptune is going to be retrograde rates up to December 31st of 2026. That's right.
So
Wednesday, we get a bit of a reprieve. It's not, we're coming off of everything that's happened before, and preparing for Venus entering Virgo.
Yeah.
So we have Chiron in Taurus. Now we have Venus in Virgo. So we've got some Earth happening again. So that's nice. That's nice to have something Venus in Virgo is probably not the most grounded thing that you can have, just because Virgo's mutable. But one of the things, like if you are doing work on a project or whatever, Venus in Virgo is the time to go in and perfect, check your details, do the minute work on the thing that you're working on. So satisfying when Venus is going through Virgo.
I love that. I love that notion.
So good.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about, my favorite Virgo and her expression of her Virgo-ness in that Venusian way, Lily Tomlin, on the set of All of Me, where she harassed Carl Reiner until he agreed to let her have a security guard. And she brought Doris Duke's jewels onto the set in this moment where she's looking over the jewels before, I can't believe I can't remember his name. How adorable.
Reiner?
One of my favorite fans who was in that movie with her.
Somebody Reiner?
Funny.
Was it one of the Reiners?
Oh, Carl Reiner directed.
Right.
And so he spoke about how she would challenge him because Steve Martin, her co-star, I think wanted his girlfriend to be like the femme of all femmes. And Lily Tomlin, with her Virgoan sensibilities, not only got actual jewels on the set because she thought it was that important to radiate that level of wealth and indulgence, but she also said that the important part of that film was her with Steve. It wasn't a twins movie. It wasn't a trading places movie. It was a person and a person living inside a body. And they did magical work with that. And I attribute it to her Venus discrimination and ability to see that and tell him what's up. So we're not talking about a Venus and Virgo, ew. We're talking about opening up this richness that you get when you deal with the earth.
Yes, absolutely. And also Venus and Virgo is very classic. So anything produced timeless with Venus and Virgo. Even in our own work and whatever our people watching us are doing, there is a timelessness with Venus and Virgo. So if you are creating something that you want to live to go through many, many cycles, polish it during this month of Venus and Virgo for sure.
And again, underscoring that need for discrimination. We said previously in May, some of the stuff going on there, that we're not asking, the astrology of the time is not asking for us to disconnect from each other. It's asking for us to be more selective, and specifically for us to allow our full expression and to allow the full expression of others. And so this underscores that by saying, here's what you can want. Here's the quality bar you can achieve. It may not be stuff you can do right away. Just make a note. You're hearing from your Venus in Virgo what you want to select.
Right. And I also wanted to point out the moon is in Taurus that day. So if you want to get any juiced up grounding stuff done, September 9th is the day to do it. There's just some beautiful between Venus going into Virgo. It goes in at 11:21 a.m. here. Venus is in Virgo while the moon is in Taurus. So it's almost like you can charge your grounding battery that day, July 9th. Anytime after noonish, in the evening, probably even better. So yeah, that's quite a beautiful day and a very, I mean, I feel like there's pretty dramatic shift in the energy that day.
I think so.
And that leads us into the 10th.
The void, of course.
Yes. Yeah, all day. It doesn't go not void until it switches into Gemini at 4:41 p.m. So 6:41 p.m. Eastern. That's the whole day.
Yeah. And then I'm looking to see if that moon meets the Chiron, because the Venus is trine, and I'm curious to see.
No, it won't happen.
No,
Because
okay.
it goes into Taurus on the 8th
Got
in the
it.
afternoon. So yeah, it'll be well past that point, unfortunately. But it doesn't.
Well, it's interesting, right? It's interesting because there's stuff going on there. The shifts are going on.
And it just points again to, you know, there's not a lot of activation of big events with that moon kind of sort of missing those lineups every time.
It's kind of a relief, honestly.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And really, it doesn't change the energy of the 9th at all. It's still, you're still going to get the good grounding and the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then, so then the 10th, the void, of course, all day. And Venus is trine Chiron that day, right? So Venus at 0 Virgo, trine Chiron at 0 Taurus. So again, feeding into that, again, we're getting more and more into the grounding. And with the meeting up with Chiron, maybe seeing what not being grounded looks like, right? So how there can be healing in terms of what happens when you ground yourself, and maybe.
And especially,
no, that's okay. Go on.
Especially with the recent trip through Uranus, it's almost like there's a little bit of recalibration with the Taurus and the Venus, right? So you've got this 7-year Uranian trip through the fixed sign of Taurus ruled by Venus. And so now there's sort of a meeting of the minds. How was that?
Where does Uranus come in there?
It's gone.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying the hangover of being.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Because I feel like all of these are attempts to kind of contextualize what just happened, right? You've got the longer cycle of the Uranus through Taurus, 7 years, and now that's over. So folks who are affected by that are still like, did that mean this? Did that mean this? Did that mean this?
Right.
And so it's a chance to kind of connect with the ruler through that easy relationship and process some of that older stuff from last year and 7 years prior.
Right. And I see it from the perspective that Chiron is getting to meet its boss in this lovely aspect for the first time. So it's kind of like the nod, because Venus is ruling Chiron, right? So it's this like, hello, welcome to the earth signs. Right. And so and also because the Virgo being that healing sign, we're getting this moment of, so what are we healing? What are we going to be working on? Right. And so that's the thing that I'll be paying attention to on the 10th, is that comes up in terms of what kind of healing work I want to be doing for others, and what kind of healing work I want to do with myself. For sure. Now, it's so funny. This has thrown me off every single time, because it says Venus trine Chiron and opposing the North Node. So as Venus is trine Chiron, it's going to be sitting on
I can't change,
which is about releasing the past.
It's like the Taurus and Chiron is complaining to the Venus, like, what the fuck was that? And the Venus is like going, this happened, this is necessary, this is what's going on. Like, I can't get that out of my head, that there's that
it's the South Node. Yeah, I love that. Beautiful. So it's at like a passing of the baton, it felt like to me. Yeah, definitely. So there's that is a gateway on the 10th, I feel.
Yeah, it feels like.
And so because the moon is void for almost the whole day, just sort of, it's a good day to clean some stuff up, for sure. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And the Venus and Virgo will give you that eye for detail. Maybe you'll notice things that you hadn't noticed before, you know.
And that's okay. You know, noticing things is it's so difficult. You know, my husband does this when he cooks. He's very critical of his cooking. And for a long time, I thought that meant that was displeasure. But the thing about the Virgo opportunity is you can see the improvements you can make while enjoying the success you're already experiencing. And I didn't know that because when I experience it, it's often, oh, I should have done that better.
Mm,
It's not necessarily that. It's, and next time I'm going to add.
right. It's funny that you bring that up because as a Virgo sun, I would always have grace for others who hadn't got
Yes.
it perfectly, going along, but never for myself. And it was in that learning how to be more gentle on myself and understanding there's a process. But what ends up happening is when I'm being very objective about like Jason,
Yes.
about,
Yes.
well, this is good, but it needed a bit more of this and it needed a little bit less of that. And it, and that I'm not insulting myself. I'm not complaining. I'm just observing, but people have become so sensitive to any kind of criticism.
Yes.
Right. That they don't understand that it's objective. They don't, and so
there is an objective reality we can all tap into. I firmly believe that. And I believe that we've done it better at times and worse at times. But that was a revelation for me too, that supports everything you're saying. And now I just enjoy it. He derives so much pleasure from it. And I use it myself, but I'm such a freaking Pollyanna that the way I use it is I make mango lassies. Oh, I want to try watermelon lassi. Oh, what about a chocolate cherry lassi? Oh, what about and that's how it shows up for me, which is, appropriate for a mutual reception, Sun, Jupiter
right.
in Sag,
Yeah.
and, but it's not available to everyone.
No, and it's appropriate for a Mars in Virgo because there's always going to be an evolution of trying things.
And once the evolution's exciting, right. Like, ooh, where's the mistake?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's a completely different energy, right? So that Friday is a bit of a pivotal moment. And then
there's also a freebie because it's not going to generate more problems. Let's say.
No. And if you feel like it is, just sit back and think, is it? Because you're probably going to figure out that there's not a lasting thing attached to it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
The 11th is a nice quiet moon in Gemini, fun, go hang out with friends, talk everybody's ear off, make notes kind of day.
I like
that. Leading into Sunday, which is again, void of course, all damn day moon.
All damn day. And we'll talk about that next week when we come back.
Exactly. Yeah. The next week starts with quite an interesting configuration. So we'll talk about that then. Thanks, Lillian.
Thank you, Tracy. And thank you guys for joining us. We love sharing this information.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.